your TDs.
It's not just about TDs, mate. Winning is ruler here, savvy? Only someone with saggy granny prunes for TDs would make a comment like that.
Who that? The only way you can move up in standings is by not playing.
It's called the bye week. And there ain't nothing wrong with two beautiful women kissing. He's not talking about Mardi Gras, you perverted imbecile. But they shouldn't be talking. They're at the bottom of the division pile.
What? Cam Newton never dies for the ball in the pile. Didn't you see the Super Bowl? Oh, shucks, you guys. I reckon we do suck this year. Yeah!
All right, man. The NFC South. That was a throwback from 2017, man. I was going through the Dropbox files. 2017, making fun of some of those jokes still stand. I kind of was chuckling a little bit about those, but everybody in the NFC South is out. An 8-9 team. Shouldn't be a surprise that they performed like an 8-9 team. Although everybody thought, hey, it's Tom Brady. He's got to be good. What'd you think of this weekend's game?
Wild across the board. Fitting beginning to a division that really just didn't belong there, didn't deserve to be there. Ironic that the Buccaneer cartoon has the last laugh, because that's clearly not what happened last night. I don't know, man. Do you think this is the end of Brady? Do you think, I mean, I heard a couple teams already have phone calls out just to kind of see where he sits, but I can't imagine a guy with that type of track record going out in a game like that, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know. But what's the alternative if he comes back? What are you going to leave? You can have a good week 3 game and then jet after that. I mean, it's probably gonna end pretty badly as well. So this didn't end that badly. I know a lot of people were. I saw some group texts where people were like, "Brady sucks now." But at the end of the day, I know you said he missed some throws, but he threw for over 300 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I think Daniel Jones would have loved to have those stats most of every other Sunday except for this Sunday.
Look, I mean, the stats are not really what's going to define this game. He missed a lot of open receivers. He was throwing low, he was throwing high, he was throwing left, he was throwing everywhere except where it needed to be. But I got to tell you, man, a little part of me had a sheer glimpse of everything we've seen from this guy in his career in the last 2 minutes of the game yesterday. As much as a blowout as it was, and Mayer for Dallas missed 4 extra points in a row. That literally could have helped decide the game. Brady does end up scoring a touchdown. They get the onside kick, 2 minutes left. First play, 50-yard pass, literally inches away from Mike Evans scoring a touchdown, and that would have made it a 1-possession game. Crazy when you think about everything this guy's done in his career and how realistic that scenario really could have been.
Yeah, a lot of the times you watching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year, like you're looking at it like this team sucks. They can't do anything. It's like hard to watch. But then towards the end of the game, the strut is different. The throws are different. Everything looks different. Looks like the old Bucs. They just didn't have one more in them. We're here for the playoff squares pool, which could be a tongue twister. I guess I've never tried it that way. But let's talk about it, man, because we have this really cool game that we started playing. It's a new take on your traditional playoff Super Bowl squares, but who has time to wait for the Super Bowl? Let's play now and have a little fun. So we created a game where you can actually win squares as well. So we had 11 or 12 people or something along those lines pick their teams this week. Let's dive in and talk about it, man, because there'll be some giveaways, there'll be some fun stuff in this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, I've been playing these Super Bowl pools pretty much my whole life, and I've never seen one where you can actually earn to win more squares. So, I think it's it's a great concept. I think people that are in it right now are absolutely loving it, which is great because, the participation element is up and, everybody's just super engaged with the way that the games are unfolding, who picked who, and, really how it's going to help them earn more of these squares as the playoffs move forward. I will caution everybody, it will get more difficult as there's less teams to choose from. So it's really going to make you put your thinking cap on and start dissecting things. I don't know. I kind of got a glimpse of some cheat sheets that some players were using. There's Post-it notes and, different graphs and, stats written all over the place trying to figure all this out. But it's really awesome to see, and it's been a hell of a fun first week here.
Yeah, man. So there you go. Typical Super Bowl squares starting to take some shape. There are going to be four more, I think, that'll be filled back in here of people that won in this league. Let's go it. So you were able to pick the games. You would set up a lineup in our unfantasy football game.
Correct. So you would just simply type in your team name, email address, and we have a convenient little drop-down menu here that offers all of the teams that you can choose from. So no more worrying about token IDs, no more fumbling around and figuring out which cards you have, which teams are on a bye. We literally laid it all out here. You get to choose any team in each category. The only caveat is you can only choose one team per lineup. So each of these categories has to be a unique team. And, as the games progress throughout the given weekend, we actually remove the options here up until the point of kickoff. So after kickoff, you can't come in and say, hey, I picked Cincinnati when Cincinnati played at the 4:00 game. Simply submit the lineup. You'll get that email notification, which, as many people have pointed out, they like. So we fixed that. And we made sure that ends up back in their inbox. And you can kind of keep track of your lineups accordingly. I will say this, though, comparing this week to the rest of the season, we have had at least 5 or 6 players submit multiple lineups leading up until kickoff. Lots of second guessing, lots of trying to analyze things. And in doing things this way, one of the unique elements that we incorporated, and I'm sure a bunch of people pointed out as well or caught, we will not reveal which teams were selected by each respective player until that game kicks off. So it's a really unique 100% fair competitive advantage here. You're not going to be able to manipulate your lineup to adjust according to points. This is really going to put a different element and a different twist on things and, hopefully keep people more engaged.
I love seeing this, man. Like, I was refreshing it just to try to see what other teams, the other players were picked, see where I was at. I guess I'd never had a chance, but I thought I was in it to the end. That's how close this stuff was. Every single person you pointed out picked the win-loss correctly. So everybody picked the right loser. And it didn't look that way at first, right? The first game was that Jacksonville and Chargers game. And I went to bed thinking that Mad Max was going to be out for sure, but he hung around in there for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to pat myself on the back here because, it is Trash Talk Tuesday. And, I
got to be able to reach to be able to do that. Can you reach?
I think it's painful, but I can do it still. I went 5 for 6 this week, obviously last night being the exception, but I had a really strong feeling that Jacksonville was going to work some magic at home. Not really in that fashion, throwing 5 interceptions or having 5 turnovers, I should say. But I really didn't think that LA was going to walk into that stadium and walk out with a victory. Eckler is, I think, a force to be reckoned with. He was very much under the radar this year. And I think next year he's going to be in the top 5 elite running back category in discussions. He has a lot left in his tank to put forth here. I think that in LA's, summary of what happened at the end of the season, there was absolutely no reason why they played their starters in week 18 and they ended up losing Mike Williams for the wildcard game. And that, who knows what difference that could have made, but it was clearly evident that they were missing something on the offensive side in that second half. And who knows, maybe that could have made the difference.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's lots of guessing with that coach. They barely ran the ball at that, which was a lot of what you pointed out the Falcons had done in that infamous Super Bowl that they lost. So common thread in the 2 biggest playoff, what would you call that? Losses,
Wonders.
But comebacks. Yeah.
But ironically, I mean, if you look at who picked who in this given week, nobody picked Jacksonville and the offense. Nobody picked LA. Like, it seems like people were really steering clear of that game because, they thought it was going to be a great game, which it was. But those 5 turnovers would have easily sprung even you to the top of the leaderboard here.
Even me, what did I finish all the way down towards the
Yeah,
bottom.
I mean Frank joined yesterday afternoon, Monday afternoon, so he was only eligible to pick 2 categories based on the only game that was remaining. And he ended up having the only losing win-loss card. He picked Dallas instead of Tampa.
Right.
Maybe I had a little influence in that. I don't know. He can make that distinction. But overall, yes, you did finish in the basement. The 5 punts that Tampa had and 0 extra point or field goals definitely helped me avoid the basement. And that, if you look at it, that 15-point special teams card clearly helped a lot of people here.
Yeah, man, it was just fun. I liked picking this lineup, and it's like looking to see what other people pick. So I like how you do that. Can't wait to go over the games because I haven't really caught up yet. I don't even know who's playing. So I'll be winging it like I usually am, checking out with our picks. But the top 3 here, man, we got is Tua playing, which took the top prize. We got straight Ethomy finally participating, and look what you do, Jack. When you actually play, you win.
But he lost in life because like Minnesota is no longer there, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Don't worry, Jack, I'm coming for you.
All right. And then who took 3rd place over there?
Casanova rolling in with the 3rd place spot. I mean, another last minute addition to the pool right before Wildcard weekend, but clearly knows his stuff with football. I mean, I had a great time popping into, the Lazy Sports podcast on Friday afternoon on Twitter Spaces. And we really broke down all these games. It was a hell of a lot of fun, man. He's a great dude, and he's got a great group over there that loves football. So we were able to kind of go back and forth. He is a Dallas fan, though, so like I'm kind of hesitant on going in this week because I definitely kind of rubbed it in his face that Dallas is not going to win, so I'm going to have to eat that one pretty hard. But congrats to him on not only the 3rd place, but actually seeing his team win a playoff game in this century.
There you go. The trash talk goes. And I was on a video call with him last week, and just like it happens with me, and it's gonna happen in a second, where the light is gonna come in and shine. He had the some sort of like, it looked like a flag hanging over his window to kind of stop that. And I thought it was because he's from Texas, so I thought it was some like, anarchist Texas flag or something, but it was his Dallas Cowboy jersey that he was throwing over to keep the lights in. So yeah, he must be very happy. I know he was nervous, which I don't know why he should be nervous. I guess people still fear the ghost of Tom Brady in that world. But congratulations to the Cowboys, congratulations to the Giants fans. Not so much for the Vikings fans, Jack. That's a tough one, but at least Jack took down something up here. And again, in this game, we play every week to set your lineup, but it's to win extra squares in our Super Bowl pool, right? So is Tua playing, has won 2 squares, 2 extra squares that'll go in there. Straight Ethomy, Jack has got a square, and Casanova now has a square. Still 2 more weeks to play to take down even more squares for free as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we should actually run a quick generator and see what those squares are, and we'll update that after this call here. But I'm just gonna throw in a Google random number picker. I got it set from 1 to 100, so there might be one that's already selected, but we'll run it a couple times here. So let's do 1 for Tua first, and let's see what comes up with that. So we got 68, so 68 is available. So Tua is now awarded square number 68, and I'm going to do another one for Tua. Looks like it's number 80. 80 is also available. So Tua wins 68 and 80. And then we got straight Ethomy. Straight Ethomy, you are going to get 71, which is also available.
I think that's his age too.
Jack, that wasn't me, man. That was him. And Casanova, what are you cooking? We got 18. That is also available. So we're 4 for 4 here.
I think that might be his age too.
Congratulations to those guys. We'll update the Super Bowl squares pool, which, is in the menu here. You can just search for playoff squares and you'll see this updated. Not exactly in real time, but as soon as I upload them and then push the changes on the website. Again, all of this is random at this point. Any of the NFTs that are minted will have a specific number pattern in the metadata, and that just simply indicates what square you will own for the Super Bowl pool. Once all the squares are filled, we will randomize numbers 0 through 9 horizontally, as well as 0 through 9 vertically, and that will determine your actual number, which will also appear on your NFT after the fact, because we'll update all of the artwork just so that everybody knows what their numbers are for the Super Bowl.
Yep. And Jackson 72. So, like, I don't know why you were laughing and proud of it. He should be. I don't know why you were laughing, Mike, because I just know the guy's age and I know his birthday. Like, I know my friends. So, you want to explain what you were laughing at a little bit?
No, I don't necessarily want to explain it. I think that you kind of lucked out in your diss, and I think that you're just trying to throw it right back in my court.
Jack can give it. Jack can give it, man. So
yeah, I guess. I mean, look, 72. I mean, I guess that's how many rushing yards Daniel Jones had, I guess, against his team, isn't it, or something close to that?
Yep.
Very impressed with what I saw out of him. I've been a very big skeptic on everything related to Daniel Jones ever since the draft, but he definitely has owned some of those designed quarterback runs throughout the tail end of the season, and we saw it kind of translate into the playoff game as well. I love what Daboll is doing with that offense. I love what they're doing defensively. Saquon has just been a beast. He's on a mission right now. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens this week in Philly, division game. A lot of people are jumping off the Philly bandwagon and they're going to move towards New York. But I'll ask you, as sort of an expert who is familiar with the New York Giants coming into the playoffs as one of the lower seeded teams, plowing through and winning the Super Bowl, is this shades of that year when they ended up beating the Patriots as the number 6 seed?
I do no clue because I don't care about the Giants. I think wouldn't watch them whatsoever. Obviously, that old team had guys like Strahan and Manning. I guess he hadn't proved himself then, but sure did as a big time player. I don't know, man. The underdogs win sometimes, and they were ready for it. So I don't know. I don't know. Jack says that they're done in Philly. He's not on that Giants bandwagon at this point.
See, from his perspective, though, he should be rooting for the Giants because it's a little bit less of a wound if you can say you lost to the champions versus, I lost to some chump team who got kicked out the next round. I think it's a little bit easier pill to swallow for the offseason. But I guess at 72 is used to swallowing pills. So it might not be that different for him.
This is why he called you a douche in the telegram. But I get it now, Jack, and I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
So let's just cover the playoff standings and where people can find out some of these updated information. So again, we have our overall standings, which really isn't relevant for this particular week just because it's the same exact numbers as the wild card. But as the division starts to unravel and some of those games start to get played, the overall will combine the wild card, divisional, and ultimately the conference and the Super Bowl standings from the teams that you select. Also in here, you'll see the wild card standings, which will be available. And now we actually have the divisional up with the matchups and the given times of the respective games. So the set your lineup page is available. You can actually go and set your lineup for the divisional games now, any time between now and Saturday. You also have the ability to get more opportunities and squares. I don't think we were pretty clear in that, but I'll let you run through. I mean, are people eligible to buy more NFTs, giving them A, more bonus teams, and B, 2 more squares to their name?
Yeah, man. I think, look, this is nothing different for me on one end as a Super Bowl squares pool, right? So there's going to be some great prizes that'll correlate, like nothing different from what people are used to in that world. So you can always buy squares. My grandmother, who's Doc Specials in here, she was loved it. Like she would love the playoff squares pools, and sometimes you buy 1 square just to get her off your back. Sometimes you brought 2. Sometimes if you were feeling lucky, like your Giants feel like now, I guess you'd buy a lot of squares. So yeah, you can definitely buy more squares. I don't think it changes. I wouldn't want to do multiple teams. You're still going to just make 1 pick because then you could just do what you kind of did with your kids' team and have 2 teams in here and hedge your bets a little bit. But for sure, you get more squares in here.
Team, so she clearly doesn't know. She's not as good as he is in picking the teams week to week, because clearly he's the loser bowl champion. But Muffin Punts, she did pick the teams this past week for her expecting brother, and she will continue to do so throughout the playoffs.
And I don't know if anybody knows the change of scenery here and there, Mike. And I guess we kind of have to like look at your junk here, because the way or your painting of your junk, which is not as bad, but this is, you're getting thrown out of your office, you're getting evicted, moving things around here, because that's going to be the nursery that's right around the corner. You didn't even see the whole Giants game because you were busy doing that stuff.
I had to run to Home Depot, buy the paint, come back, get everything prepared. But the whole family, including my daughter, helped paint the room. So it was a collective effort as we watched the victorious Giants kneel it down in Minneapolis as Jack was trying to fight traffic.
I thought you were going to say the Victoria's Secret something, and then it's just like the Giants. It was like a big downer for me there. So I love how you have this lineup, and obviously this website has evolved and will continue to evolve, but this is like such a simple format where before I'm looking at ESPN trying to see the matchups, and that's why I started making graphics and throwing the Telegram. But I love how it's just right there. Obviously it's condensed, but it's a nice way to pick the team. So we can stay on this line. We can stay right here and go through these games a little bit.
Yeah, let's do it.
4 of them.
Jacksonville at Kansas City. I mean, I'm shocked that this is the first game of the weekend, but nonetheless, it is what it is. Who do you think Jacksonville's magic runs out in KC? Do you think the bye week hurts KC? Like, what's your overall take on how this game is going to shape out?
Hope anybody you're the one that can predict stuff. I guess you and Casanova had some good Nostradamus moments or something over in the Lazy Lions sports club. But I don't know, dude. The only time you look, Kansas City comes out flat sometimes, right? So if they come out flat, Jacksonville clearly has the ability to move the ball. So I would say that you could see an upset there. I wouldn't make that pick.
I really wouldn't make that pick either. But again, looking at this condensed slate of games, one of these teams has to get chosen as your win-loss card, right? I mean, if you look at the remaining games, not such an easy selection. Got to pick one. I think in this game, either way, I haven't determined which way I'm going to go, but I think this is the game I'm going to pick my win-loss card in. But I definitely do see a potential upset with Jacksonville. Maybe that's a hint. I think that their receiving core has just blossomed. You can't count out Kansas City, not for the reason that you think in Mahomes, but mostly because of their defensive line. And if they can shut down ETN and they can shut down that running game and they force Lawrence to throw, I mean, they proved it last week that they can easily turn the ball over 5 times and a half.
I don't believe you for one second that you're going to pick that, especially if you think that there could be an upset in that world. I don't think you're picking Jacksonville. Is that what you're putting on right now?
I'm not making my selection on Tuesday, but I have to see, how injuries play out and some of the news reports come in later in the week. But who do I think is going to lose in our Trash Talk Tuesday discussion in this game? I'm going to go with Jacksonville losing.
Okay. Next game, let's go to, what is that? Does this
are you picking Jacksonville too?
I picked Jacksonville to lose. Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. Next game, I guess, is that Saturday also, or is the Cincinnati and Buffalo?
Nope. So we're going left to right here. It is the 8:15 New York Giants at Philadelphia.
Got it.
Which, I don't know what people really think about Philly, especially in the latter part of the year. I don't know where Jalen Hurts is as part of his hurting his injuries. I tried to make a Hurts joke.
Not exactly. Didn't work.
No, definitely not funny.
Did you see that though? One? Did you get that one?
The what?
I said not exactly. Did you get what I meant there? I tried to on the fly make a Hertz rent-a-car commercial. See, if we have to explain our jokes, it's not good.
Got it. It's funny. We were talking about that this morning too. So again, I it's worth reiterating the point because I know Jack's listening. Daniel Jones is playing great. Saquon Barkley's playing great. The receiving core has stepped up. I think this team is healthy at the right time. They're firing on all cylinders at the right time. This is one of the bigger upsets that I have for the week. I have Philly losing.
Okay. Again, Philly's one of those teams that never impressed me. No team really impressed me that much this year. So I'm going to go with the Giants losing, though, just for odds.
So Sunday, the games don't start until later in the afternoon, and I think we're moving towards that schedule because I think it'll be like that next week as well. The first game starts at 3:00, and I guess it's the one that I feel should have been a night game. It should have been the game of the week, but it is what it is. This is
why, though?
Well, I think it's just because the Saturday game has the AFC teams playing in the early game as well.
Maybe. I think it's rated. It's all about ratings when anything they do, right? I mean, the people are going to want to see.
How in the hell is this not the highest rated game? This is the week 17 game where Hamlin got hurt. There was, Cincinnati was winning. There was so much controversy about who was going to ultimately win that head-to-head matchup, and exactly for this reason on who was going to solidify that number 2 or number 3 spot in the AFC.
Yeah. I guess you're right. I can't argue on that side, though. But all the fans are going to watch that stuff. The casual fans are going to watch, the San Francisco versus Dallas stuff because that's what they remember growing up watching or their parents watch or whatnot. So, but you're right. You're right. That probably should have been that night game. Should have done the 2 nights. But either way, it'll be the day game. I think I'm going against Buffalo. Buffalo loses.
I think both of those teams got a pretty big scare this week. Buffalo more so because I just didn't think that they had any faith that Skylar Thompson was going to keep that offense in the game, but he did. And Buffalo had a couple things go their way, and they were able to shut them down defensively towards the end. Cincinnati, though, however, I think got the bigger scare in the sense that, they were 198-yard fumble return for a touchdown away from having a big problem on their hands with a backup to a backup quarterback in Baltimore. And Baltimore put up a hell of a fight, man. But, look, division games, it's always difficult to kind of predict those things even in the playoffs. But I think Cincinnati kind of they escaped that pretty handsomely. And I don't know who has the bigger chip on their shoulder. If I had to sit here and say that, emotionally speaking, from that week 17 game, Cincinnati wanted that game more than Buffalo did. I think they needed the win more. They came out, literally slapped them in the face with the coin toss and took the ball. They basically said, we have the better offense and we're going to prove it. I see them going into Western New York and actually flexing again. I also don't know if Buffalo is ready to call it quits on this type of season. I think another week under their belt, they're going to get an emotional support from Hamlin. I bet you he actually goes to the game, especially facing Cincinnati. I'm going to go with the Bengals losing, but I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Yeah, I just hate the Bills, man. And it's funny, the Bengals, I think they do have a bigger chip on the shoulder because their touchdown celebration the week after was one of those dudes pulled out a coin and referencing the coin flip and saying that they were going to do their part on that stuff. So I think they got a bigger chip. Buffalo's good, man. Buffalo's good. I think Josh Allen definitely proved last year to me that he had it. So it's hard. It's hard either way. I'm going to go with Cincinnati. They started off slow and have had a good season as of late. So Cincinnati there.
Another great team that's kind of had a hell of a run lately is San Francisco. They're winners of now 10 in a row with Mr. Irrelevant. You want to talk about one of the better stories of the playoffs. I don't think Mr. Irrelevant has ever been relevant in football. It's kind of a funny name that they give to the last guy taken in the respective draft. And that was Brock Purdy. And, you're right. This is a shade of the 90s, man. Cowboys, Niners. Niners knocked them out last year in Dallas. They came alive with their running game, and they just marched into Dallas and ran all over them, on the road. I don't see that changing, except being at home, obviously. I think that San Francisco is a force to be reckoned with. Their running game has exploded since Christian McCaffrey got there. They're also using him as kind of a swing and out back. So they're using him in so many different ways. That's electrifying the offense, and it's really getting opportunities for guys like Ayuk. George Kittle has come back into the mix since having a quiet season. Really kind of came alive towards the end once Brock took over. And then you have Debo, man. I mean, like, they are just powerful at every level. And you're also talking about the number one defense in the league, by the way. They are just clicking at all cylinders. I really think that even though Seattle put up a fight in the first half, they stood no chance in a full game, and that was proven. I'm going Dallas. Dallas's season ends right here.
Yeah, I mean, look, I picked Dallas as my offensive card for last week. I thought that was a decent pick because even if they score off some points, if they're getting turnovers, then that helps your offensive card. You get 10 points for every interception. And Dak had like 1 or 2 interceptions in like the last 6 or 7 games prior to that. So I should have gone with that theory and picked Buffalo, but I lost with Dallas. I think people are also forgetting that Dallas played an 8-9 team. Still, I think overvalue that stuff. So I don't think Dallas is going to be that good. I think San Francisco probably pulls it off unless this rookie, Mr. Irrelevant, finally shows like what a last pick in the draft quarterback can do. But I'm going to pick Dallas to lose that game, and I'm definitely going to play one of these cards in my lineup some way, shape, or form this week.
I'm with you on the 8-9 team, man. Dallas is the type of team where if they win, everybody thinks they're the best team in the league. They just forget on who they played. You got to remember that, again, we showed the stats earlier. Tampa punted the ball 5 times. They have punted the ball more times in the last 5 or 6 weeks than I think in some seasons under Brady. It's just ridiculous on how that offense was just never able to convert. And yes, that's a testament to Dallas's D. They're great. They're a really great defense, but there's a huge but here. They do not have the team that people give them credit for. They are not going to get past a team like San Francisco the way they played last night. Don't forget the first 3 drives, they all went 3 and outs too. They were equally on par with not being able to click with their receiving core or establish a running game against an 8-9 team. Now you throw them up against the best defense in the NFL. I don't see them doing anything, man. And I see a lot of Cowboys fans, making excuses and going home with their tail between their legs again.
And man, just looking at this graphic here, if you're a Commanders fan or Redskins fan or whatever, like Dan Snyder's diary from our league here that's pretty tough to watch up there. That there's 4 teams left in the conference and 3 of them are in your division, and it's kind of sucks for me because they're all kind of annoying fan bases, and it's guaranteed that at least one of them is going to be in this NFC Championship game.
Yeah, and it's really cool to see, I guess, on the other side that each of the divisions are represented. So it's really cool to see how all these things play out. I actually do kind of like the new playoff format that they've developed with adding the 7th team. It kind of grew on me a little bit. Maybe 2 teams don't need a bye. What I was kind of disappointed in the wild card round, and I say this as a traditional football fan, not a hyped football fan, there was way too much offense, man. Most of those games had over 60 points scored, and where's the defense? Where's the defense wins championships attitude? And I think that teams like Philly or Kansas City, who had a bye, can sit there and say, okay, well, if defense isn't the name of the game, we have a high-powered offense. We can make use of this rest offensively and just score more points. We don't care how much we give up.
That's how the league is trending. That's how sports is trending, and it kind of sucks, man. Because if you think about it, I mean, I understand you want some more offense in baseball. I get that, but basketball is like not fun to watch anymore. The scores are like maybe 1 or 2 teams would get 120 points or 130 points back in the 90s or the 80s. Happens every damn time now. It's not even fun to watch. Like, defense is legit, and that's why I think the Super Bowl that the Giants beat the Patriots, that was a pretty damn entertaining Super Bowl to watch. It had a little bit of offense, it had some drama at the end, but it had great defense on both sides with that stuff. And the Super Bowl that they won against the Rams, which was like 6-3 in like the third quarter or something, was like a pretty solid defensive game. as a Pats fan, I've had to like love defense and get excited about it because the offensive is sucked for a little bit here. But it's where sports is going, man. It kind of stinks.
It does. And look, I'm not knocking obviously the entertainment value, because this weekend was nuts. I mean, watching that Jacksonville game was incredible. Watching even the scares between Cincinnati and Buffalo and what they had to do in their respective games was great to watch. Even watching last night, I mean, like we mentioned earlier, man, they were almost a 1-score game with the 2-minute drill with Tom Brady. I mean, like that had the recipe for being something super special. I just, I don't appreciate the fact that the game itself is evolving to where a playoff style format is now a shootout versus a strategic defensive play. But I guess, again, that's just the old school football fan in me. And I'm getting old.
And I guess we have a few questions I just want to just answer back on here, but getting back to our game. That's funny. I mean, Jack's asking if this Gronk's going to make the FanDuel kick at halftime. That's like spoken like a real gambler, that you need to have a prop bet for that stuff. But that's funny. I saw the commercial for that. It'll be interesting to see that. Linda also, or Jack also asked who was the perfect lineup. I don't know if you have that info, Mike, of what was the best to pick.
Yeah, so nobody picked Jacksonville. That would have been the best offense. But Is Tua playing actually had the highest point total from all the teams that were selected. So he did correctly pick all of the respective categories compared to all of the other teams in the league itself. Now, if we wanted to check out the overall in the wild card, we would have to go category by category, and we would, let's see. Jack's making me do work on this.
Yeah, man.
Let's see. All right.
So just penalties, I guess.
Well, I'm already doing offense.
All right.
So, all right. So this is the wild card round here. And the total points for the wild card would have been Jacksonville with 46.9.
Wow, for the offensive card?
Yeah. And if you want me to do penalties real quick while I'm here, this is quick behind the scenes of all these calculations happen. All right. And penalty yards, it would have been the Chargers.
How many points?
4.2. Oh, excuse me. It would have been. It was the Giants at 4.5.
Okay, so it doesn't really matter that much in that world. And then Linda asked a question about: is there any reason in particular that we chose not to use the cards they currently hold? I think we're just making it's. We wanted to keep things simple and test out different types of game mechanics for sure, right? And we're definitely always going to do a fantasy football league of some sort. We were always going to create this unfantasy football game of some sort. We started this stuff. I think we're always probably going to be involved in some sort of Super Bowl squares league as well. But it's I love this format in a lot of ways, man, just because everything's right there for you. And you can the drop down menu. I love seeing this is a different game altogether in a lot of ways, still using the unfantasy concept, but just testing out some stuff, but always open to suggestions. I know Flag on the Play has done some suggestions on game mechanics for next year, and obviously those things will be looked at. But that's the reason we're not trying to make you buy more cards all the time. In that we just want to make really fun games and have fun doing it with everybody. So.
Yeah, the other side of that is that we incorporated the game that we all kind of had to educate ourselves on and try to learn throughout the season into just nothing more than a way to win more Super Bowl pools. To your point too, we're not always going to ask people to go out and try to hunt down cards. So, if, for example, Linda decided she wanted to buy all Minnesota Vikings cards yesterday just because they knew they would suck, then she would be forced to go out and buy more this week because obviously those cards are useless this week.
Yep.
So we just wanted to kind of simplify it. That's why the buy-in at the beginning was what it was. Again, it's just extending, 4 more additional ways to keep the fun alive as the playoffs roll through. So,
yep.
But to your point, man, we're always open to suggestions. Obviously, this isn't just for us; it's for everybody. We just had to set some sort of a framework and a foundation, but we'll always try to find ways to make it better and improve.
Yep. And then Jack says confused on the Jacksonville offense, looking for the worst offense. Correct. Yeah. But it's the big thing is turnovers, right? So giveaways, I guess they call it. So you get 10 points if your offense throws an interception or a fumble. So Buffalo's been a pretty good offense all year through the NFL stats. But in this league, there's been times, even this last week, where they would have been great because they threw a bunch of picks or fumbles, even though they scored points, even though they won it.
Yeah, the key metric on offense is definitely turnovers because that is a multiplier of 10. So because Jacksonville did have the 5 turnovers for the game, that was 50 points just in the turnovers category. And then they lost 3.1 points due to the fact that they posted 31 points, which netted them 46.9 points. So the key to everything, and honestly, Jack, this is why I picked Minnesota. I thought they were going to turn the ball over more. But that is really the key indicator on you picking the best/worst offensive card.
That was my strategy going into Jack. Is I thought Dak had always thrown like 6 or 7 games in a row. He was throwing picks. So even if they thought they were going to win and they were going to have good offense, if he threw a few picks, I would have won. If he threw 3, how many points did they have last night? 34.
Dallas 34.
Okay. So that would have lost me in our league. That would have got me negative 3.4 points. If you threw 3 picks, that would have been 30 points. I'd still be in the high 20s for that, which would have thrown me up in here. So definitely want to get teams that you think are going to turn the ball over and have some giveaways. And then Aaron Favre jumped in here. I think it's a good time to do that. Aaron Favre is a member of the Battle Bunnies, has his own Dead Poker Society, which it seems like it's a super fun group of guys. They had their own playoff squares, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to do like Inception a little bit, right? So the winner of this week, which is Will to a Play, your boy William, is actually going to get also, in addition to the 2 extra squares that they won for the Super Bowl squares, they're going to get an NFT. Let's see which one it is. Let's see what the numbers are. But it's for, I believe this, and Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong, this is it, but I believe it's for this upcoming Sunday night's game. Lose my voice. And this is Williams Square now, so hopefully they can win, and it's another opportunity for him to win outside of our project. But like that little character dude, what are the numbers?
Yeah, so it's numbers 9 and 2, and they're doing it a little different. So rather than having like an AFC, NFC, or pre-selecting the teams, they're actually making the horizontal and the vertical numbers actually go with the winner or the loser. So, for example, on that Jacksonville Chargers game, that would have flipped in the last seconds because Jacksonville ended up winning. So the numbers that you would have had would have been in reverse. So it's a nice little interesting spin on it. And it's a really cool project. I got to hang out with a bunch of them last night while we played poker. Sorry, let me correct myself. While they kicked my ass at poker. But it was cool to just talk about the game. It was going live. And then, obviously leading up to the divisional game, we definitely wanted to kind of cross over into that pool. And I guess it's going to Williams. So he's now a part of 2 Super Bowl pools. This guy's winning squares everywhere. Yep.
100%. I thought you had to correct yourself because you don't want your wife to watch this and know that you're up playing poker last night when she's, full term here and needs her feet rubbed.
Yeah, imagine that world. I got a crying toddler next door, a pregnant wife down the way. I'm sitting here saying that I'm working by watching football and playing poker while I'm trying to paint a nursery. I mean, who's the biggest asshole on earth right now besides me?
Yep, living the dream. So, anyways, that's great. Happy that Will Tua, what's his team name?
Will Tua play? I guess the answer is no. And even if he was healthy at this point, it would be no.
Yep. Glad he got that stuff. We'll continue to do not only give some squares away, but next week we're going to give some stuff away too. Maybe we'll do another Dead Poker Society square again because they do that every week, but we'll keep you updated. But someone will win something next week as well.
Cool. All right. Well, we made our picks. I guess we both have some work to do to crawl out of the basement that we put ourselves in. But hey, that's what the unfantasy, system is designed to do, right? Nobody's ever truly out of it. Once again, it's never too late to join. These things are always way more fun with friends and family. So, I mean, if you guys are going to put together a Super Bowl pool anyway, this is already in place. All you got to do is just buy in and, have them join the league. They don't even really need to set lineups as an effort to earn more squares either. That's just a subcomponent to all of this. I don't want to confuse anything even further than I already am because I see it in John's eyes. But do you have any final thoughts, man? Anything that you want to throw out about like this week heading into next week? What are your final comments here?
Nah, man. Usually this has been fun because usually when the Patriots are out, which has been a lot lately, but not beforehand. I wasn't used to this stuff. It's you play all this stuff all the way to the end. I told you before that the Super Bowl halftime shows, like the years the Patriots lost. Like I used to be a big Tom Petty fan. When the Giants beat the Patriots and Tom Petty played the halftime show, like if I hear any Tom Petty happening right now, like I just shut it off because it gives me stress from back in the day. So I got no skin in the game. So usually I'd be out of this stuff and be more productive. Instead, kind of doing this stuff too. It's been fun and keep me around the NFL a little bit longer than I normally knew. But I know what it's like to be a Miami Dolphin fan. Finally, these last couple of years is giving me a little bit of a taste of that.
Yep, and I'll end it off, and you can punch me later if this is getting a little too personal for you, but I know you did mention a number of times that your grandmother was a huge component of the Super Bowl squares, and she really tried to put it together every year. So I'm going to propose something that Doc Special is a team in this league that will forever be a part of this league, and I'm going to propose that we memorialize her enthusiasm and probably dominance in the Super Bowl squares pool over the years. And, we're going to name this the Doc Special Super Bowl squares pool, and that will live on in eternity with the rest of this league.
Yes, man. Always thinking, very thoughtful. She definitely loved her Super Bowl squares. We did that with that every year. And she liked to joke around, man. She'd fit right in on this stuff. So a couple weeks ago when we did our opening, there was a little superhero scene with someone carrying the casket. I almost put Doc Special in there because I think she would just laugh at it herself. But I stopped at the end because I was like, maybe she wouldn't, but I know she'd be appreciative of this. So we'll memorialize that in this Super Bowl square stuff. She's the one that kind of taught me how to this. She's the one that I always checked up the sports scores with her anyway. So, part of this stuff and the reason we're doing this stuff is stuff that she taught me back in the day. So very thoughtful of you. Appreciate it, man. Still time to jump in at any point with the Super Bowl squares. But if you want to jump in for this week to a chance to earn more, what's the deadline for people to do so? And where do they got to go do that?
Yeah, so the deadline is up until kickoff. I mean, there is no real deadline in order to join. Just keep in mind that as soon as the game kicks off, you're no longer eligible to pick the teams that are playing in that game. So I'll reference Frank, Battle Bunnies, who joined the playoff pool yesterday afternoon. Obviously he was not eligible to play any of the teams that played Saturday or Sunday. He was only eligible to play Dallas and Tampa, and therefore restricted to only 2 scoring categories. So he really didn't have a shot to pull out any kind of win for this week, but he did get points that are going to accumulate heading into this coming week and obviously next week as well. So just if you're going to jump in, you have friends and family that want to jump in, I would recommend that you do it between now and kickoff on Saturday, just so that they can maximize their options on setting their lineup with the available teams. And then, again, let the chips fall where they may. We'll see if Muffin Punts can pick a good team for her expecting brother. And both of them have done a hell of a lot better than me. So, maybe that apple is falling further and further from the tree.
Yep. Go to the www. I don't know if anybody says that anymore. Unfan.xyz site to do that stuff. Always hit us up in Discord if that's where we connect, or Telegram chat as well. I'm sure any updates will be there from us there, Mike. And Jack says he thinks Brady to the Dolphins. That'll be for next time if that is the case. We'll chat about that. I don't think he's that wrong. I'm just glad to see Jack participating and sharing his football knowledge because he killed it this week, so I might be trying to hit him up on the side and see what kind of lineup he's putting together. But I am in it to win it, to try to win more squares for this, and excited to also do that live when we reveal the numbers later on, which will be another element to it. The one thing we didn't talk about, we can end it with this stuff, is just trying to figure out another component to this game, which is just a bonus component of the game. Think of a scratch ticket when there's a bonus, right? You scratch it off. And so there is, every NFT, they get 2 teams that was just revealed. It'll be revealed on Mint now at this point, but there's an AFC team and an NFC team. And if your team is still in there, then you're going to win something. It's going to be fun. It's going to be good. It'll be something that we'll reveal, but it's just a bonus part of the game. Who is in it still? Because I know I am not in it, I don't think.
Yeah, so I didn't go through each of the teams to be put on the spot for that, but those icons could be seen here. They are scratched and revealed on the NFT itself. Also within the metadata, you can see the NFC logo and the AFC logo. To your point, the goal is for those teams to meet in the Super Bowl. However, it doesn't necessarily need to be the matchup. And as the weeks progress, we'll elaborate a little bit more once we start fine-tuning how we're going to actually position that. But if you still have an AFC team that's relevant, that doesn't necessarily mean that bonus is completely shot out the wind. So just keep an eye on some of those teams. Again, all of those are really one of one. So there's no other Cincinnati, San Francisco matchup here, which means that there are still some matchups that have yet to be minted. So again, anybody that's looking just for more squares, scooping up another NFT will at least give you another option on this bonus game as well.
Can you see who I have? I think I have 962 is the token number.
962. Let's see. Baltimore and Dallas. So you are hanging on by a thread here.
Baltimore and Dallas?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't Baltimore lose?
You are. Yeah, but I think Dallas is going to lose too.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. No, I mean, ultimately you want the Super Bowl matchup to predict from there. That's going to be the good one. But yeah, Baltimore's out, so I'm out. Dallas is in that way, I guess. That's the beautiful part about the games that we're doing and what NFTs do, but even beyond NFTs, just in any world now, like you can really stack value. And that's one of the things we did with the Dead Poker Society when they're doing their own squares. Support that project. We snagged one of them, and your boy William gets that for winning this thing. It's like Inception, like you said, but there's going to be a lot of giveaways and things like that we can do. And there's some value that we haven't thought of yet that will be fun, because a lot of times we're just sitting around and saying like, hey, how can we make this more fun? How can we make it more valuable? How can we make it like a no-brainer, worth it? This was so fun. That's kind of where our mentality is relentlessly focusing on fun and value for the people that are doing it. So I'm sure there'll be something that we'll think of, not beyond just the Super Bowl matchups, but I have something cool that I want to do with the bonus game, the scratch game. That's kind of in honor of my grandfather. So I'm really going back into my childhood with this stuff, because he would always just go up to the Packy, as they're called in Massachusetts, the liquor store, and just get the scratch tickets. And that's where I saw that. So living my childhood doing this stuff, it's been fun. We'll end it and circle back next week to see who wins the extra playoff squares and who wins some of the giveaways that we'll do for next week as well.
Yep, Jack's still very much in it, man. Why? I wonder why, Jack.
Wonder why what?
I wonder why he's still in it with the bonus teams. I mean, this is his NFT.
Oh, that stinks. That's the cult. Like, Jack, these are randomly generated, so this was not like thrown at you for that one. That is karma is getting a little getting you
I'm
there.
just, I have until the Giants don't, are out of the playoffs to talk trash here, and I will take every ounce of it. I just want to answer Linda's question before we leave, because I think it's kind of an important one. So she did mention that, or did notice that, Team Blue Men did not end up with points this week, and that's just simply because they did not set a lineup. So again, you can buy into the league. You're going to get the squares for the Super Bowl. The game component on how to compete for additional squares, that's really up to the fantasy owners. So if there's no lineup that's submitted, obviously there's no points that go with that lineup. So therefore, that's why it was blank. But by no means is Blue Man not participating. He did purchase the NFT. Therefore, he does have the guaranteed 2 squares. That's going to happen in the Super Bowl.
Yep. So this is, again, can be just a Super Bowl squares, and I think that's what it'll be. This will fill up, but it will fill up with people that'll just jump in for the squares. This game is just allowing people to win more squares. I guess we got to end it with, if we start with trash talk, we got to end it with trash talk. This has been my trash talk to you too. Even Jack, even before you're bringing this up with Mike, he's asking like, which is your home team, Vegas or Miami?
My wallet sits in Vegas. My home team sits in New York.
Yep. So Jack, ever since I've known him, when I first met him, he had Bucks hat, Bucks shirt. He was like a Tampa Bay Bucks fan because
sold it off to you when Brady went there.
Of course, there's a Mike Allstott days. As soon as the Bucks sucked, he was like, oh, a Giants fan all of a sudden when they beat the Patriots. And I know he grew up in New York, and I do believe that he grew up a Giants fan. I do know he's a very loyal guy, but he does seem to play the fence on the different teams that he likes. So he says he likes the Raiders. So exactly. We got most of his teams, thankfully, are out. And the Knicks, he is the only team I've seen him really stick with that have just never been in it. I'm sure he's got childhood trauma from that, but he plays the fence. That's why he's got 2 lineups in this thing too.
Yeah, the Knicks will always be the thorn in my side. I'm a New York guy through and through. There's no question about baseball by any means. But hey, financial investment opportunities arise. You gotta kind of put some chips into that pile, right? I mean, typically, Jack, I think you might have been better off selling those tickets this past week. But hey, maybe you got a front row seat into a really great football team.
Oh man, I hope not, Jack. I hope we're on here next week talking trash and him lamenting about his Giants. So we'll see everybody next week. Thanks for doing it. Don't forget to set your lineup. And Jack is name dropping. I love it. And cool. We got to get some tickets to the Knicks, Mike. Maybe you can hit up Jack privately on that, and you guys can make amends. But we'll see you next week, man.
Have a good one. Enjoy.